Hey guys, I hope you guys are all doing good. I'm still hanging out on this island in the Canary Islands, Tenerife. Probably said that wrong. So today I wanted to make a video on something I've been thinking to talk about for a while now, and that's dowsing. Pendulums, rods. I'm gonna give demonstrations, actual like examples of how I do them, of how I dowse with my rods and a pendulum. And dowsing is been around for a long time, right? Thousands of years, who knows? It started probably thousands of years ago. People would use rods or Y-shaped forks to dowse for finding water in the forest or something, And that's actually the example I'll use today with my rods right here. I have two rods, L-shaped rods, and I'm gonna dowse for water, and I'll show you guys how I do it. Dowsing, very simply put, is just communication with your spirit guides. That's it. Whether you're using a pendulum, whether you're using rods or anything else, it's just your spirit guides. It's a tool for communication, no different than pulling cards, tarot cards, rune cards, oracle cards, animal cards, etc. This is all communication with your spirit guides. And so I found this nice place I'm just on kind of like an overlook, and behind me is the port. There's a lot of action going on over there, and over here it's a bit more calmer. A lot of industrial and tourism boats come in over there, and over here is a giant auditorium. so this place is nice and quiet, so I thought it'd be a good idea to talk about this today. Dowsing is a really helpful tool, especially when you're first starting to wake up. You're just discovering, spirituality, metaphysics, energy, etc., and you want to talk with your spirit guides. And sometimes they don't come to you right away. They kind of wait for you to wake up a little bit, or they know when the right time is to come in and actually speak with you while you're relaxing or meditating. But in the meantime, they come to you by tools such as dowsing, and so I'm going to first show an example of how to use the rods. Now, one thing about these rods, this is just copper. There's nothing special about it. It's not weighted. There's nothing fancy. You can get some really fancy pendulums and dowsing rods, but it's really not necessary. Hell, when I first started, I took copper coat hangers, and I just snipped them and bent them into an L rod, and that works perfectly. You do not need to get something really nice for this. As long as it's copper and you shape it into a rod, it works. I have my dowsing rods with me right here, and what you want to do is you just want to hold them out like this, point them straight forward, and kind of keep them tilted a little bit down like that. You can keep them upright, keep them straight, but at 90 degrees, but aim it a little bit down and just let it rest on your index fingers and hold them out like this. And when you come across something that you're looking for, a lot of people they dowse to look for things. They with pendulums, people sometimes dowse over a map to find something. With rods, historically, it's always been finding water. People have gone into the forest and used rods or Y-shaped forks, like I was saying earlier, to dowse for water. And when they found a spot, they would dig a well there. So that's what we're going to do today. Is I'm going to use this water bottle as an example of how to find something with rods, how to find water. And I'll set this on the ground, and I'll walk over it with these rods, and you'll see that the rods will actually go like this. They will, boom, cross gloss right over it. You know, for me, when I walk over something I'm looking for with these rods, the rods will turn into each other like this, make an X. Sometimes they go out. You know, that could mean yes or no. Dowsing is really like a yes or no thing, especially with pendulums. You can ask simple questions, yes or no, and the pendulum will swing one way or the other. With rods, it'll go in or out. I've actually asked my spirit guides to make my rods go in when it's a yes, kind of like X marks the spot, you know, and out when it's a no. Or if it's nothing at all, just I don't, you know, nothing happens. So with my pendulum, as I'll show you guys in a little bit, I've asked them to make it spin one way for a yes and spin the other way for a no. You can make it spin, or you can make it go up and down, left and right, kind of thing. Anything works, as long as you know that, as long as you know what the answer is, basically. And don't expect to ask really detailed, specific questions with pendulums and rods, and don't douse for it and expect, you know, like the answer to all your questions in life. It doesn't work like that, guys. And I know most of you guys realize that, but I just wanted to throw that out there. Like, it doesn't work like that. You ask simple questions and you get the answers. But if you start asking stuff like, am I gonna get married in 5 years, you know, or something like that, it will not, like, you will not get an accurate answer doing that. Just so be warned, guys, when you do this stuff. But, you know, finding water, it's an easier way. And the reason why you don't get accurate answers when you ask really detailed questions like that is because the future's always changing, and your spirit guides know better. They know, like, you know, if you ask a question like that, they know that there's no way they can even give you an answer. So it's going to be a yes or a no. It's going to be like a maybe. It's going to be, it just won't be accurate. So doing something simple like finding a bottle of water with these rods, it'll be accurate, and it'll be an example of how to find something. So without further ado, let me change my camera around and I'll show you guys, you know, where I am related to this bottle of water that's going to be on the ground. So there's the bottle of water, as you can see. Zooming out, and I'm going to zoom back in. So guys, the water is right there, and I'm going to walk over it with these rods. As I'm doing it, pay attention to my hand movements. You'll see that I'm not doing any of this jerking around or moving these rods. I'm keeping them still. And when I walk over this water, the rods will turn in like this. When that happens, that's our spirit guides touching our arms and moving our arms, you know, ever so slightly, just enough to make it turn like that. So watch closely. So basically, before I douse, I set my intention. Sorry, I'm gonna sit down again. I set my intention of what I'm looking for. So in this case, it's that bottle of water. So I'm gonna think in my head, find the water, and I'm gonna ask my guides to come in and help me out when I get close to it. This is all about intention here. So you got to have a strong intention of what you're looking for, what you want to do when you douse. So clear your mind and just hold the rods out like this, you know, straight forward in front of you, side by side. Aim them down a little bit and just let them rest. Just let them rest right here on your index finger. And just start walking, start moving around. You'll see that as I'm walking, like right now, for the most part, they're straight. Now, it is windy out here, but you can see that they're just staying straight, you know. Let me show you. See, they're waving around, but they're staying straight. Now, watch what happens when I set my intention to find that bottle of water. See that? Right there. It was like that. All right, I'm gonna do that again. See how it crossed? This time I got the camera aimed up a little bit more. I realized you guys probably had a hard time seeing it right when it crossed because of how low the camera was. So I'll do that again so you guys can see exactly how it crosses. Before you douse, clear your mind and just have a strong intention of what you're looking for, and set your mind on that and that only. I got these rods held out in front of me. You see right there how it crosses? I'm right underneath the water bottle. See that? I'm not jerking my hands around or moving anything. You know, I'm not making wild movements with my hands. I'll show you guys again one last time. Right underneath the water bottle. So now you're probably wondering, you know, those of you that are that, you know, just saw that, some of you are probably wondering, well, how does that happen? How do these rods, you know, turn like that, make an X over whatever you're looking for without you moving your hands? Well, actually, you are moving your hands, but it's not you. Your arm, your forearm, and your hands are moving. Sorry, it's just the sun's in my eye. But it's not so much you, it's your spirit guides. They come in as you're doing this, as you're dowsing, whatever you're doing. As you're doing it, they'll come in and they'll gently tap your forearm or tap your hand, make your arms move right when you walk underneath, or right when you know, if you're dowsing with rods, right when you're underneath what you're looking for, they're gonna tap your arm, and then they're gonna make it move just ever so slightly, and then it'll cause these to go make an X. Whoops, dropped one. So that's what happens. So you do move, but it's not you, it's your spirit guides coming in, and that's a form of communication with your guides. With pendulums, it's the same thing. They're gonna touch your forearms, and it's gonna cause you to move your hand a little bit, so that you spin, so that the dowsing rod will spin either up or down, left or right, or clockwise or counterclockwise, depending on how you've got it set up to how you want, you know, your answers, to like a yes for a counterclockwise, a no for a clockwise, or whatever, you know, however you've got it, you want it to happen. So that's how it happens. That's it. Like you saw, as I was this bottle of water right here, as I was walking towards the water, the rods just went like that. You didn't see I didn't go like this, you know. I wasn't forcefully trying to make it happen. It just happens. Because of your spirit guides coming in and helping you out and doing it for you. So that's all there is to it. It's a form of communication with your guides, and it's fun. Dowsing is fun. It's a great thing to start practicing. The more you do it, the more communication you'll have. And I douse all the time. It's not like, you know, once you talk with them when you're relaxing, you don't have to do it no more. No, it's not like that at all. You can, I mean, I douse all the time. I pull cards all the time. There's no such thing as like you don't need it anymore. You know, it's all practice. It's all practice. It's all fun. You do it to strengthen your communication, your abilities, but it's something that'll always be there, and that's something you can always use. And I advise you guys to all, you know, have fun with it. So I'll show you the pendulum next. So guys, here I have a pendulum with me. This one is yellow aventurine. It's got a chip at the tip, but that's alright. Anything will work. You don't have to get a fancy pendulum or anything. All of these will work just fine. So when you dowse, you typically want to put your elbow down, you know. You can put your elbow down like this, and just rest your arm on a table, and hold the pendulum out in front of you, like so. You can hold it with like your thumb and your index, or you know, 2 or 3 fingers. It doesn't matter. I've heard some stuff on the internet, people saying you have to hold it with 3 or 4 and do these weird things. Like that's nonsense. You don't really need to do none of that at all. Just hold it however you feel like it, and hold it like this and just relax. Take a minute, take a breath, and focus on what you want to ask. So you can look at the pendulum and ask with a strong intention. Ask about something like, I'm going to ask questions very simple, because like I said earlier, if you start asking really complicated or questions way out in the future, you will not get an accurate or correct, or you may not get an answer at all. So don't bother with that, because the future is always changing. But you can ask very simple questions, like for example, I'm going to ask right now, is my name Frank, right? So I'm going to look at this pendulum, and I'm going to think in my head with strong intention here, because intention is what matters. Is my name Frank? And I'm going to ask, spirit guides, is my name Frank? And I'm going to relax, and I'm just going to let the pendulum swing whichever way it swings. So you see it's starting to go clockwise. It starts off slow, but then it picks up. And I can feel my arm moving, because I can feel energy on my forearm as this is happening. And that's my guides just coming in and tapping it really quick. Clockwise, because I've already had this preset. You know, every time I dowse, I tell my guides, okay, spin clockwise for yes, and spin counterclockwise for no. You can have it spin up and down, left and right, whichever way you prefer. And it was spinning clockwise, you know. So if you were to put your forearm right up against the wall, you know, next to you, and try to dowse, it won't work. Nothing, your pendulum won't move, nothing will happen, because your arm is stiff against the wall, and your spirit guides will come in and they'll try to move your arm, but your arm is not going to move because it's up against the wall. So that's how you know your spirit guides come in and tap your forearm to make it move. I'm going to ask another question. Very simple questions. You know, you start off with simple questions. So second question will be, is this stone, this pendulum, is the stone yellow aventurine? So I'm gonna think of it. I'm gonna think it in my head, and I'm gonna have a strong intention of getting an answer to this question and asking the pendulum. You know, is this stone, is the pendulum yellow aventurine? And you see how it's spinning clockwise again. It is kind of windy, so it does affect the spin, but overall it's going in a clockwise motion, and that just means yes. That's my guides coming in and saying, yeah, it's yellow aventurine. And so with that, that's all there is to it. Have fun with it, you know, like, get a pendulum. Like I said, it doesn't have to be fancy. It doesn't even have to be a stone. It can be metal, it can be whatever, as long as it's, you know, on a string and it's weighted in the bottom so it can spin. It doesn't have to be anything fancy, and just hold it out and relax and ask your question. You know, is this? Is my name this? Is this that? You know, like, get creative with it, but don't expect any crazy answers if you ask questions like in the future, or big life-changing, you know, questions or events that you want to know about. But have fun with it, and the key here is just relaxing, right? Having the question in your mind, relax, and have a strong intention, and direct that question at the pendulum, and just allow your spirit guides to come in and allow them. You know, I literally think in my head when I ask questions, I think spirit guides is my name Frank. Like, that's word for word, verbatim, what I thought in my head when I did the first dowsing, and it started spinning clockwise in no time, and that's just my guides coming in and saying, yeah, you know, my name is Frank. So relax, have fun with it, and just remember the key here is intention and relaxing, and allow your guides to come in and just start poking around with it. It's fun. Dowsing is fun. I used to go out and just with my rods and just douse for like random stuff, like walk around at a park or something, and kind of like metal detecting, but I would just walk around and like I would toss a coin. I would take a coin and just throw it somewhere and just start walking around and douse for it, you know, with my rods. That was kind of fun. That was a hit or miss. Sometimes I'd get it, sometimes I'd walk underneath it and my rods would turn and it'll be like a general area, or sometimes it was right there. I would take a penny or something, or maybe a quarter, or you know, that was fun. You guys can do that kind of stuff too. Just have fun with it. Thanks for watching this video, and I will talk to you guys soon. Have fun with dowsing, and remember, it's all communication with your guides. Thanks, guys.